It's Janice calling. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Good. That's good.
Yeah, is this a good time to talk or?
Yeah, no, anytime's a good time to talk.
Okay, great.
I don't
Okay.
care for rap, though.
You don't like rap?
I don't understand it, probably, that's why.
Yeah, you have to pretty much watch the video and read the lyrics. Otherwise, it's
Yeah.
pretty hard to hear what they're saying. But yeah, I think
I don't bother.
yeah, and I think people, well, especially, in our part of the world, and you hit a certain age, like maybe in your 30s or so, usually rap's really not your thing. I apologize if the beginning of this conversation sounds a bit choppy. We had some personal conversation to start off the phone call, which I cut out for the video. I did want to include a small part of what I said, though, because it gives me a chance to plug some great Christian artists. My JW friend and I had been talking about what music she likes to listen to, and she mentioned that she does not like rap. That's understandable considering her demographic, of course. It's usually not really my taste either, but there are some fantastic Christian rap artists these days who are well worth listening to. Their songs are more doctrinally rich and soaked in scripture than many sermons that you may hear at the pulpit these days. They can be both edifying and easy to memorize. My two favorites are Shai Lin and Timothy Brindle. I'll share links in the notes to their stuff. You can find them on all the usual places like iTunes and Spotify, and even many of their songs are available to check out on YouTube. Okay, enough of that. Let's get into the conversation now.
Like, looking at the world nowadays, with all its anger and frustration, I see rap as anger and frustration.
And that's actually kind of what it was born in, like that's what it developed from. Yeah. I think it's been kind of redeemed by some people. I've heard some really good stuff where they've used it to promote really, really great, solid things, important things they're not done in anger at all. They're actually done in love, and it's a.
Oh yeah, now they're promoting, the love, taking care, compassion because of the COVID thing, and they're using rap for that too.
Oh, sure, that too, yeah. But even years, like over the last 10 years or so, there's really been this development of a different sort of group of people that are doing things differently than like the sort of gangster types. There's still that too. That I don't care for that.
Well, that's what society is constantly changing. So
yeah.
You do one thing for a while, it gets boring, and you got to reinvent it.
Well, and yeah, if you want to stay relevant or whatever, yeah, keep up with whatever is going to impress people. I was wondering though, our last conversation we were talking about bit about the Watchtower, and then I asked if we could continue to do that today too. Is that okay?
Yeah, so I can answer any questions. I don't know everything.
Oh no, I understand that. Yeah, that's totally fine. But I know you know a lot and you study a lot, so I'm sure you've got some answers. I was wondering if it would be okay, like you use the Watchtower's website on your tablet, I think.
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay. Because there's an article on there that I read through recently, and I have a bunch of questions about it.
And it's a recent article?
It's not recent, but it is on the website. That's where I found it.
Okay, well then let's go to that website then.
Okay. I guess the easiest way to find it is through the online library part.
Yeah. Let me just turn my machine off here for just a moment.
So it's a Watchtower.
Is it the JW Library or the JW.org?
It's probably on both, I think, but probably the easiest way to find it would be if you go to the library, because then you can go to publications and then go to Watchtower.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the reference here. I actually printed it out because it's easier for me to read that way. So it's 1972.
Just hang on a moment. So this is on the website on the website now. And what's the 1972 that you're referring to?
Okay, so it's a Watchtower publication.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I I
Yeah.
missed that part.
No, sorry.
Oh, yeah, you're on a computer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, I'm on an iPad, so I
Yeah.
can't get on an iPad. The only stuff up to 2,000 I have storage, and anything before that I don't.
Oh, so like you're using the app, I guess?
Yeah,
Oh, I see.
like so the iPad doesn't have the capacity of the
Oh, yeah.
computer.
No, but if you can you look it up on the website though?
No, I can't bring anything up from the 70s unless it's
Yeah, no, on the
it's
website.
brought up again into a recent Watchtower or Awake or whatever.
Yeah, the website will give you options just to look at them though, like you don't have to download it.
Okay, so now I pressed publications. Is
Okay.
that what you did?
Yeah. And
You're on a computer, right?
yeah.
Mhm.
And then from there, I guess Watchtower.
Yeah.
And it's 1972.
Yeah. See, no, I've been. That's where I. Oh, just a moment here. 72. Oh, yeah. Okay. Mhm.
April 1st is the date.
April. April. Well, there's on the. Oh, I got the Awake. Now, how did I get the Awake? Publications. Let's go back to publications. Pardon me for being so slow.
Oh no, that's okay. I've kind of surprised you with this, so.
I wasn't prepared, so I had to get my. There. Now I should be able to come up with. The iPad is slower than the computer,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it's overloaded with information. I'm going to clear some of the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's April, the what did you say, the 1st?
April 1st, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the article is called "They Shall Know That a Prophet Was Among Them." Do you see that one?
April 1st, 1972, the publication, Good Health to You, They Shall Know That a Prophet Was Among Them. That's the second one,
Yeah, that's the one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was if this would work, just because there's a lot of information here. I mean, I don't think we'll really want to go through the whole thing because that could take hours, but maybe if we could sort of read through the first few paragraphs and maybe I could ask you questions as we go. Would that work?
You read it, so if there's any questions in there, let's just go to them, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the first paragraph says, Jehovah God is interested in having people know him. Though he is invisible to human eyes, he provides various ways by which they can know him personally. They can know what to expect from him and what he expects of them. And I agree with that. I think we can all agree there. Mm-hmm. And then the next paragraph says, one can come to understand that Jehovah is a God of surpassing wisdom by observing creation. This also reveals the loving care with which he designs things for man's welfare and enjoyment. And again, I agree with that. That's called general revelation, right? Where all people can see that God exists because he's made it available to us to know by creation. And then the next part says, a second way to know God is through his word of truth, the Bible. And I agree, that's called special revelation, right? Very specifically his words given to us.
That's his own revelation, the one that authored it.
Yeah, so herein one finds the full expression of Jehovah's purpose toward mankind, why man is on earth, and the blessings that God has in store. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because it was written for man, for people.
Yeah.
For a purpose too.
Yeah, for sure.
Why we're here, what he wants to expect of us, everything like that. It's related to us, because that's why when in the Bible he says that if we reason on, well, the angels could have written the Bible too. God could have authorized the angels to write it.
But he didn't do that.
But he didn't do that
Yeah.
because he authorized man to do that so that man could print it and put it into the understanding of man. So that's why everything in the Bible relates to how we perceive things. You know, why the Father calls the Son, and the Son calls the Father, because we can relate to father and son relationships at home, and everything like that. You know.
Okay.
It's written in our language, not in angel language.
Yeah.
Not in spiritual language.
And then the next paragraph says, a third way of coming to know Jehovah is through his representatives. In ancient times, he sent prophets as his special messengers. While these men foretold things to come, they also served the people by telling them of God's will for them at that time, often also warning them of dangers and calamities. Yeah, I agree. And then people today can view the creative works. They have at hand the Bible. But
which was those first 2 points.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it is little read or understood. That's a claim they're making that I don't understand where they got that from, because people throughout history have been reading the Bible and understanding it, and I mean, I understand that there are sort of people that would call themselves professing or nominal Christians who don't really pick up a Bible, but there are always people.
No, but in the early, very early Christians, and I use the term Christian loosely, it was forbidden for the general public to have a Bible.
There was a period of time where
they
there
were burned if they had the Bible. They were burned. They were destroyed. They were sold.
Yeah, and yet they still had it. That's how, you know.
Of course, it's misunderstood. It's obvious that it's misunderstood because there's so many interpretations of what the truth is in the Bible.
Well, there's
there's
definitely been lots of heresies that have been tried to be snuck in, and there's things that the church has had to battle over the years, for sure. But that's not really what this is saying, though. This is saying that the Bible today, it's because it's saying present.
So so there's still so many religions, and there's so many sect divisions.
But it's saying the Bible is little read or understood. I wonder.
Listen, just a moment now. You know, like you even told me that you disagree with your pastor
on a secondary issue. Yeah.
So truth is truth. Somebody has a misunderstanding there.
Absolutely. Either I'm right or he's right or we're both wrong. Those are the options.
Yeah, so it's misunderstood. It's misinterpreted.
But there's debate on...
Is a fact. It's a fact. One fact.
Well, right. And so we're all, as human beings...
Remember we just read up above there in the paragraph, in that other paragraph? The second way was that the Bible was God's word, and it says you find the full explanation of Jehovah's purpose towards mankind, why man is on the earth, and the blessings that God has in store. Well, those are truth. Those are facts. So the unfortunate part is people are misinterpreting why we're on the earth and why and what God's will is for mankind.
I guess my concern with that statement goes back to them saying the Bible is little read, because that's never been the case, and it certainly isn't the case now, or even then in 1972. Lots of people read the Bible.
Well,
so it's not little read.
When we go to the door to door, and we've been doing it for, I haven't been, but I mean we've been going to the door as Jehovah's Witnesses for over 100 years.
Yes.
And it's getting read less and less.
Well,
in
our culture, that might be the case. And yeah, we are definitely in a very secularizing culture.
You know, ever since evolution has been in
evolution's a big problem.
System, people they firmly believe that they were a single cell that came out of the water.
Yeah, lots of people believe that's true, especially in our city. There's very little. I mean, I agree that there are um, people in culture in the secular world who don't read the Bible, but there are Christians who do read the Bible. So when I would say the comment, I just had a little concern with the broad brush of that. I think that doesn't quite handle it very well.
As I say, the Bible was forbidden for centuries.
But it wasn't gone, and it wasn't. It was.
It was forbidden to be read.
There was a time in Europe.
People didn't know it was in the Bible.
Well, there was a time in Europe when, that was a case where like Rome didn't want people to be reading the Bible, and there was a lot of illiteracy. However, people still had the Bible and read it, and in fact, that's part of how God used to preserve His Word, because, like you said, when you're talking about the people being burned and all that kind of thing, they were trying to burn the manuscripts. They were trying to burn the Bible and get rid of it, but it kept getting copied and saved and
because it was
translated and all that, and so it was preserved. So there were.
It survived in spite of that, and that's the miracle, that it's a proof that that is the word from God.
Exactly.
He's not going to let it disappear.
Of course.
That's true, but the fact remains that in the past the Bible was not read because it wasn't available to the general public for centuries and centuries. And that's an established fact.
No, that's not quite.
Bible scholars will say that.
No, I have read Bible scholars, and they wouldn't say that. I've been studying church history, and there are times when, yes, they had governments saying, they had, the Pope saying whatever, the Roman Church saying that was not, they didn't want people to have the Bible. That did happen, for sure. But it didn't happen everywhere on the entire earth at the same time.
Well, of course it didn't happen all at once. If it happened on the entire earth, and nothing happens at one fell swoop.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so that's that. So I just that sounds like another broad brush there. That I think we want to be careful about using that. Yes, we need to address the problems that they had where they banned the Bible. They didn't want the. I mean, we know that the Roman leadership wanted to keep the Bible out of the hands of the people because that gave them control and power, and they could tell them to believe whatever they wanted. And we understand that was a crime. That was a bad thing.
That's the whole thing about the Reformation. The Reformation bought the Bible into the hands of the public, and of course, then it got to be printed in many languages, and then of course, industry helped there because of course the printing press was
right at that time. Yeah.
So those things. Helped expose and made available the Bible quite readily.
Yeah.
And then, of course, once people started reading it, then, of course, they were illiterate and they were unknown. They weren't taught really what the Bible was about. So then when they got their hands on it, the general public, being not scholarly, then they got their own ideas, and then of course that's where all the divisions came in. Religions and sects.
That's not really exactly how it went, though. Like I said, I've been studying a lot of church history, and especially the Reformation, because I love it. It's a very volatile time, to be sure, but there were excuse me, that it wasn't just a bunch of like illiterate people that suddenly grabbed a Bible and started like making up their own beliefs. It really didn't work that way. These were very intelligent people, and there were illiterate people who needed to learn to read, and the Bible helped with that a lot because they actually used the Bible to teach people to read.
But even the literate people who read philosophy, and of course, by that time, then of course there was the Greek philosophy, which of course never came up with any conclusion. That was the whole idea of the Greeks. They sat around in forums. They were very knowledgeable, read and well read, and they didn't read the Bible. They didn't know the Bible because they were heathens, but they philosophized on things.
Yeah, that was long
They never
earlier.
ever came to a conclusion because they just, well, what if? Yeah,
they always wanted something new. Yeah, and that was back in like Bible days and
of
long
course,
before.
That culture that Greek culture is down to our day. That's
there's effects of it. Yeah,
you can see that in university and in debates. They don't draw a conclusion in a debate. They just present different ideas.
Mm-hmm. But there were a lot of. But my point, and I don't want to get stuck on that because that's not really what I wanted to look at in the article either. But the people in the time of the Reformation who were studying, they were studying the scriptures. In the earliest languages, earliest manuscripts they had available, and they were very well studied, and so they were learning, and they were reforming the church.
Like that.
Yeah, so there was actually.
And Tyndale was killed.
Yep.
He tried to teach what the Bible said, and he got executed.
Exactly. Yeah, and so he was one of the early reformers that. Yeah, made a huge impact in the end.
So the true teachings were suppressed, but the false teachings were.
And yet they weren't, because even what Tyndale taught and believed, and not just him, but many who were in agreement with him, that still went forward.
But there wasn't very many in agreement because they were afraid.
Oh, there were more than you'd think.
People hid them and tried to help them, but there was very few. People didn't want to get burned at the stake.
Right, exactly. But I mean, and there was a fellow even about 100 years before Martin Luther named Jan Hus, and he was doing the exact same thing, and he also got martyred for it. So yeah, those were volatile times.
And some of these, of course, picked on items like Martin Luther. The reason that the Protestant faith came into existence was that Martin Luther didn't like the indulgences of the clergy.
Yeah, that was the catalyst.
And of course, that was just a side issue. That wasn't a biblical issue at all.
Did you hear that? She doesn't think that Roman Catholic indulgences are a biblical issue at all. Again, isn't it amazing how alike the Watchtower and Rome are? We'll pick up right here next time.